Hey everyone, in case you haven't met me because it's been a little while, my name is Raid Kitty, and I like to play games with my Raid Kitty s'mores. And quite a while back, I started a desert city, and everything just went wrong, and I decided I'm not quite done with that idea, so I'm gonna pop back in and do my return to the desert. So part of what I want to do today is really focus on beginning cattle and cotton farming, because that is really what the desert, especially the desert I grew up in, has. Now, before I go into those 5 C's and what the beginning of the basis of our desert city is going to be, this is the starting tile. And while I love this interchange, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm not super interested in starting off this interchange. It's a little big. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to build on this kind of flat plain area. So let's go ahead and get started and get an interchange going out here. We have a wonderful railway station. So I'm actually going to head across from the railroad and we're going to build out in this area. The railroad is a great opportunity for both goods and services to enter and leave a desert area, as well as bringing people out west into this land of opportunity. Let's get started. Perfect. So I think I have this roundabout pretty much set up. It's nothing fantastic, nothing absolutely beautiful, but it is functional. And that's kind of what matters, right? Especially at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is we're going to stretch this railway across. Let's get that set up. Just drop it down that much. We're just going to run this nicely into like a tunnel with an overpass. All right, so now let's go ahead and actually smooth this out with the rail in it. I don't need a whole lot of room each side because it's just a little pass through. Awesome, so we smoothed that out a little bit. Now let's go ahead and run this entryway in, but I don't need this 3-lane road. That's a little bit much. And in all honesty, I am just going to turn it into this 2-lane country road. I'm gonna run it straight across, right there, and into town. Okay, so now that we have the entrance into our city, I want to go over what we're going to be focusing on, both as part of this and in future episodes in this tiny town. Early on in the history of Arizona, the 5 C's brought economy. And those 5 C's were copper, cattle, cotton, citrus, and climate. And you're probably wondering, well, why is climate one of the 5 C's? Well, they had over 300 days of sunshine in Arizona. That's a lot of sunshine. So having places where people could work and, you know, you could always be outside and farming and working, that really helped boost the climate or boost the economy. And now as we've technologically advanced, it's a lot of places where we have solar panels and wind farms and really places that when you have 300 days of sunshine, you don't really have to worry about the sun not peeking out on solar panels. Now, working our way back up, the 2 things I want to focus on today are cattle and cotton. And so I want to really make this town, won't be a large town, but it is going to have some farmers and just a tiny little main square in the middle where everything that the farmer could need and their family could need would be there, including a school, a small medical facility, a fire and police department to assist, as well as a bus hub for later when they need to travel to other areas. So I'm gonna look for a name for this district, but for now we're just going to call it the 2 C's district. I'm gonna be looking for 2 names for today's episode. I'm gonna be looking for a name for the 2 C's district and I'm going to be looking for a name for Desert City V2. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to run this road as far as I can to the end of this area. And let me look at our terrain because I don't want to run it off the end of the terrain. So we're just going to run it to right here. And so that's going to be the main thoroughfare through town. This is going to be Main Street. Now, right in the middle of Main Street, I'm going to make some semblance of a roundabout. And while it's not actually going to be a roundabout, it is going to be where all of the main businesses are, and you have to go around in order to see the main businesses. And in the center, we'll put a nice community park. So let's go ahead and get our needs going. I'm gonna place just a little tiny medical center right in the middle. And this is a Desert Springs Medical Center. It's an asset I downloaded. It's really neat. It's really tiny. It's perfect for the little desert feeling that we're getting. I'm going to place a tiny wooden water tower. Now, typically you would put it on top of a hill to bring the water down, but there's not really a hill here. So I'm going to make just a little baby hill, just a little baby one. Boop. Smaller than that. Perfect. It's nice and smooth. It's just enough. And so what I see happening with this water tower is on here, it would say the name of the city, and this would be supplying water for this entire little district here. The other thing I need to place here is some electricity. Unfortunately, it's probably still going to be a coal plant. Even though we're out here and we have all of the wind, this is a small town and they're still going to be producing coal. So I'm gonna run a rural road and I'm gonna run it alongside of the train tracks. So we're gonna have a coal power plant and this is going to be supplying the city. And then I will eventually run a drop-off point over here for the train track that'll be both good for coal as well as having farming goods being able to enter and leave the city. All right, so now we have electricity, we have water. The last thing we need is sewage. There is like no water around here, which is good. It's a desert for me to dump sewage into. So we are going to have to do a sewage plant. Let's just do an inland water treatment plant across from the coal power plant. And this will be our little works area at the moment. Now I'm going to take a rural fire department, which I thought I got a rural one. I did not, but we'll put the little historic one until I maybe find a rural fire station I like. And then we'll also go ahead and we'll put the tiny police station as well. Okay, so let's go ahead. We now have a medical center. Let's add a school. Churches have been places of worship, community engagement, as well as learning and education for a very long time. And I don't foresee it being a problem that people here would want to attend a church. And also the church house can be used for educating just a small collective of people. So let's go ahead and just put this church in. And the cool thing about the church as well, center it, is we can also, along with having it be a place of worship and a place of education with 50 students, we can also put the death services here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and attach a cemetery out the back. This is a pretty large cemetery for such a small town, but it is what it is. And it actually blends really nicely. Not that we're going to need a ton of parking, but I am going to go ahead and stick some parking around at the church just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. A little bit right outside of the church. People can park here and go. And then I am going to add some bike parking because people will be biking and I want them to have a chance to sit down, put their bike somewhere. We'll go ahead and we'll put that just a little bit closer to the church. The people can put their bikes right there, right in front. Nice and center. Awesome. Well, this is a cute little area and we'll come back and we'll decorate this. I do wish that this stone wall was something that I can place because it would look really nice going around this area, but it is not. Bummer, because like, look at it. It's so beautiful. Love a little stone wall. Adding it to the list of things I want to download from the workshop. And you know what? I'm going to go download it from the workshop as well as a rural police and fire station. I will be right back. All right, so I went to the workshop and I downloaded a stone wall network so that we could encase this entire church and the cemetery in a single wall. And then I got distracted and I downloaded Theme Mixer and I was really tired of this ruining texture on all of these nice dirt roads. And then when I downloaded Theme Mixer 2.5, it bothered me. So then I went to 2.0, which is, or Theme Mixer 2. And that's kind of why this looks different than it did in the last scene, because I just updated everything. So those are all going to be down in the description. And there might still be some changes, like whatever the heck is going on over here. Like, that's just too much ruining. Like, what the heck? So, for instance, this is the one that originally came with grain. And let's do sand texture. So, in my opinion, this is just too white of a sand. At least for the desert that I'm trying to build. But if you like this sand, let me know and I will change back to this sand. And it does hide the ruining texture pretty well. But I think it's a little bright and it's kind of killing my eyes. So I'm going to go back to sand texture I was on, which should have been this one. Yes, that one. So let me know what you think if you want the lighter sand. But if you don't want the lighter sand, I'm just going to leave it like this. So let's go ahead and decorate up this church since it is going to be very, very central to our city. And let me get this nice brick stone wall. And we are going to get decorating. Perfect. So now I think that kind of fits better. I'm going to try and raise this up a little bit with Move It. Let's see if we can get some. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. All right. So the other thing I'm going to do is, in all honesty, these type of trees would not exist on this building. So let's go ahead and find a better tree, shall we? But I'm going to go the acacia. The acacia is nice. It is definitely a lower water plant. Perfect for the desert. It holds on to its water nicely. So I say we do that. Look at that. That looks nice. This area might be a smidge big because if you know anything about me, I build things way too honking huge. We're just going to delete this. And we are going to make it a smaller size. I was gonna make it one way, but I'm gonna draw it in first. So let's just make it a little 280. There we go. That is a much better sized little roundabout. Now I have to shrink this park from something ginormous to something a little bit more modest. Sorry, Smith Meadows. And now we're gonna take these guys. I'll put them there. We're gonna take the church and the school. Everything that goes with it. We have our medical center. And then I did get a new fire station, a new police station that will fit here. A lot better than the ones that I had before. So I got a little tiny rural fire department. Because honestly, there's no reason why this tiny little town out here that does nothing but have farms is going to need a larger fire station than this. It would probably be a volunteer fire station, especially at this point in this city's growth. And then a little bit larger of a sheriff's department. They would be both highway as well as local. And honestly, these two guys could just share this building. So what I'm actually going to do is do that. Interesting. Take some surface painter and paint this. That way it looks like one building. I can use this little guy. By little guy, I mean ginormous. Ooh, not that big. Copy. And place it. So much nicer. Look at that. So then this whole complex is gonna get a touch up. There we go. I think this is just a nice little medical center and police and fire station. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna zone some of this. I'm gonna let it grow in organically. What about a little burger shop with an ice cream parlor? Yes, please. Yes, it's all coming together. And the thing with this is at the very beginning, these areas, they live with the land, they require less water, and as you start to industrialize and you start to build your city up and you have more of the structure and the infrastructure, you will start getting places that will have more green, lush trees. But I like to think that in this little area especially, they're trying to live with the land. They're trying to be respectful. And I am all for that. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of parking. All right, so I've added a little parking lot so that people can do some laundry or I guess visit the gas station. I don't know. There's not a parking lot at the gas station, but it's a little area that they can park right here. And then let's go ahead and add a little bit of parking at the park. A nice bike plaza on either side. There we go. We have a nice little parking area for people to sit here. Parking for bikes, I should say. That is still technically close enough to work. And in all honesty, it's going to be a pretty rough path, but I do want to be able to add bushes and trees. Oh, that's tiny playground. There we go. Look at that. So then we have a little bit of sports. Got some rock climbing. Got some places for people to sit and picnic. And we got some kids areas there. Let's go ahead and just fill it in. And there's our nice, currently named Smith Meadows. But again, I need a name. Help me name it. Same with our 2C's district here. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna turn this sideways. The way I play is I make a lot of changes. So there we go. The church is facing out so people driving by can see it. It also places a lot more on this side, which makes it seem a lot more full. I'm just gonna cut down this brush size and place some nice things in there. I feel like I'm just so far off the highway. Why do I do this to myself? Now I don't feel nearly as far off train, off the roadway. And I might actually end up with a little bit more space. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cruise us on through the building of this. It's gonna go super fast because I've spent so much time here. I just wanna get a couple small farms set up and get this city underway. Just enough to get it started. Maybe that 100 population mark, shall we? Well, no matter how hard I try, I can't get rid of this ridiculously large section of fertile land that I put in here, and I went through hide it and I can't get it to go away. And I tried changing what's there. But yeah. Have you an idea how to get rid of this large area of fertile land and turn it back into sand? Let me know. Maybe it'll just take a little while to go away. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so I am pretty happy with how this has gone. There we go. In all honesty, let me turn down the speed just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I mean, if you look here, we got a nice main area with lots of stuff to do. We got a nice little park. We got a church, elementary school. We got dead people already. Yep, got a dead person already. And then we have this nice farming area where the people are just beginning to move in. These little homes tend to be farm hands or people who maybe can't afford farms but still would like to work. And same with this area over here. Just the beginning of a little bit of a town, people who don't quite have all this. And so what I plan to do next time is fix this, because holy cow. And I'm actually going to expand a little bit more this way, hopefully figure out how to do this fertile area and make it not show up bright green in the desert, but we'll see. So thank you all for hanging out with me. It's so good to be back. I know this was both a long and a short build, kind of funky, but let's take a look at some cinematics, see what I've done here, and I hope you have a good day.